It began when Cynthia Hargrove moved into the house 3 doors down and across the street. From day one, she was a storm in a sundress. Within a week, she'd reported 4 neighbors to the Willow Creek HOA, one for a visible recycling bin, another for a garden gnome deemed tacky, a third for a porch swing that clashed with community aesthetics, and a fourth for a dog that barked excessively during a single thunderstorm. I stayed off her radar for months. My yard was pristine not for the HOA, but because I loved my home. Then, one Wednesday morning in May, she crossed a line that turned our quiet neighborhood into a battleground. I was on a video call with clients when a mechanical whine interrupted my focus. Assuming it was a neighbor's lawnmower, I ignored it, but the buzzing grew louder, closer. Excusing myself, I stepped into my backyard and froze. There was Cynthia, wielding a chainsaw, hacking at my 100-year-old maple tree. She'd barely dented the massive trunk, but her intent was clear. She was trying to destroy a piece of my property. "What are you doing?" I called, struggling to stay calm. Cynthia looked up, unfazed, and shut off the chainsaw. "Good morning, Ethan," she said, her smile as cold as a winter ditch. "I'm handling this tree issue." She gestured at my maple like it was a weed. "Issue?" I stepped closer. "This is my tree on my land. You're trespassing." She chuckled, as if I'd misread a punchline. Per HOA Bylaw 52C, trees over 40 feet pose a storm hazard in Willow Creek. This maple's at least 50 feet. I measured it. I took a deep breath. "Cynthia, no such bylaw exists. I've studied the HOA rules. Even if it did, you can't enter my property and cut anything. You're not HOA enforcement, and they'd need notice and approval for private property." Holding the chainsaw, she stared at me like I was the problem. "I'm keeping the neighborhood safe," she insisted. "No, you're breaking the law: trespassing, attempted vandalism, destruction of property. Leave now, or I'm calling the police." I pulled out my phone. Her smile flickered, then hardened. "I'm the new HOA president. Elected last week. You'd know if you attended meetings. News to me, but irrelevant. Even as president, you can't destroy my property. That's criminal. Leave, or I dial 911. She scoffed, clutching her chest in mock outrage. "The police? For enforcing standards? This tree's a hazard, Ethan. Its leaves clutter my yard every fall. Your yard's 3 houses down and across the street." I snapped. "Trees drop leaves. That's nature." She lifted the chainsaw. "I've started, so I'll finish." The board voted to remove oversized trees. "Yours is first." I dialed 911. "Last chance to leave." My tone must have hit home. She set down the chainsaw. "Fine, but expect a violation notice and daily fines. This isn't over." She stormed off, her ponytail swinging like a metronome. I called my friend Laura, a property law attorney. "Document everything," she advised. "The tree damage, her presence, everything. File a police report and get security cameras." I ordered cameras that day. Officers Martinez and Lee arrived within an hour. I explained the incident, showing the shallow gash in the maple. They photographed it, asked questions, and seemed stunned by Cynthia's audacity. "This is trespassing and attempted destruction," Martinez said. "A mature tree like this could be worth thousands, making it a potential felony." They took my statement and promised to visit Cynthia. That afternoon, a letter arrived on Willow Creek HOA letterhead, signed by Cynthia Hargrove, president. It cited her fake bylaw, fining me $600 plus $150 daily until the violation was resolved. I read it twice, torn between rage and disbelief. She'd trespassed, attacked my tree, and now fined me for it. I emailed the HOA board, attaching the notice and detailing the morning's events. I requested minutes from the alleged tree removal vote. Responses poured in, shocked. No vote had occurred, and Cynthia wasn't president. David Monroe, the actual president for 4 years, called. "She's on the landscaping committee, that's it. Elections aren't until December. Her notice is void, and we're holding an emergency meeting to address this." The next day, my cameras arrived. I installed them around my property, focusing on the maple. I also hired an arborist, Dr. Emily Chun, to assess the damage. "You're lucky," she said, examining the cut. "It's superficial. A deeper slice could have destabilized it." She valued the century-old maple at $45,000, noting its health and rarity. I asked for a written report for legal records. That evening, Officer Martinez called. We spoke to Ms. Hargrove. She claims she's HOA president with authority to act. We informed her the real president denies this, and she got defensive. She's been warned. If she touches your property again, she's arrested. The DA's reviewing charges for the initial damage. The HOA censured Cynthia, removing her from the committee. For 5 days, things were quiet. Her house showed normal activity lights, her car but no contact. Then a spring storm hit, with rain and wind toppling my porch pots. Power outages swept the area. A fallen tree had hit a line nearby. With no electricity, I drove through Willow Creek to check for damage. On Elm Street, a crowd gathered at Cynthia's house. A dead cedar from her yard had crashed through her roof, leaving a gaping hole. My neighbor, Maria, whispered, "That tree's been dead for years." The prior owners planned to remove it, but Cynthia refused, despite warnings. The irony was sharp. She'd called my healthy maple a hazard while ignoring a real danger on her own property. Emergency crews were on site. Cynthia, soaked in a raincoat, argued with a firefighter. I was leaving to avoid drama when she spotted me. "This is your fault," she screamed, charging across her lawn. "You did this." I laughed, stunned. "How's your tree falling my fault?" "You reported it to get revenge," she yelled, jabbing a finger. "I know it was you. I didn't know your tree was dead until now," I said. "I haven't been on your street in months." "Liar," she shouted, turning to the crowd. "He trespassed last week, threatening me when I asked him to trim branches over my yard." Her lies were dizzying. Maria stepped in. "Cynthia, that's nonsense. Ethan's tree is nowhere near your property." Neighbors nodded, familiar with her antics. Officer Martinez arrived, likely for the power line. "Problem here?" he asked. Cynthia repeated her tale, claiming I'd orchestrated the tree fall. Martinez stifled a grin. "Are you saying Mr. Wells caused the storm or aimed your tree at your house?" She backpedaled. "He reported it to force me to pay for removal." "Did the city contact you?" Martinez asked. "No, but they were going to," she mumbled. I clarified. "I never reported anything. Her property's nowhere near mine." Martinez nodded. "Ms. Hargrove, focus on your home. File complaints at the station if needed." To me, he said, "Head home, Mr. Wells. The storm's not done." Cynthia yelled as I left. "You'll regret this." But karma had already struck. Her roof was wrecked, and her credibility was crumbling. The next day, the storm cleared. Cynthia's roof was tarped, the damage severe. A city code enforcement truck was parked outside, an official speaking to a flustered Cynthia. Later, David called. The city cited Cynthia for violations, including that dead tree. She reported half the neighborhood, including herself, to push stricter rules. Most complaints were dismissed, but hers stuck. Her own complaints had backfired, exposing her neglect. A week passed quietly. My maple healed, cameras showed no issues, and Cynthia avoided community events. Neighbors whispered about her repairs and isolation. I thought it was over. Then, on a Sunday morning, Officer Martinez knocked. "Ms. Hargrove was arrested last night for attempted criminal damage and trespassing," he said gravely. "At 2 a.m., your cameras caught her in your backyard with a chainsaw, cutting your maple. She got halfway through the trunk before we arrived." My heart sank. "The tree? It's compromised," he said. "The city arborist says it's a fall risk and must be removed." Grief hit hard. That maple was my home's sole shade in summer, a haven for birds, a century of history. Now, it was gone because of one woman's obsession. She's in custody, facing felony charges due to the tree's value and prior warning, Martinez continued. The DA's building a case, including her earlier attempt. "You may need to testify. Your insurance should cover removal and a new tree, and you have a strong civil case for the tree's value." After he left, I saw the damage. The maple's trunk bore a deep, jagged wound, branches wilting. Caution tape marked the hazard. I stood, hands in pockets, mourning. Neighbors gathered, offering coffee, contacts, and sympathy. Word of Cynthia's midnight attack had spread. Despite the loss, their support warmed me. Cynthia faced trial. The DA used my camera footage, arborist reports, and her prior warning to secure a conviction for felony destruction of property and trespassing. She received 2 years probation, a $50,000 fine, and was ordered to pay me $45,000 for the tree. The HOA banned her from future roles, and she sold her house, moving away. I removed the maple, a painful but necessary step. Insurance covered a new sapling, which I planted with neighbors' help. We held a small ceremony, sharing stories of the old tree. Maria brought pie, David grilled burgers, and we laughed under string lights, reclaiming our peace. The ordeal taught me: set boundaries early, calmly, firmly. Document everything. My cameras were my salvation. Stand your ground with facts, not fury. One toxic person doesn't ruin a community. Me neighbors prove that. Loss hurts, but you can rebuild. My sapling grows, a symbol of resilience. Cynthia's chainsaw didn't just cut a tree, cut her credibility. Willow Creek is quieter now, the HOA fairer. If you've faced a Cynthia, comment below where's your battle. Like, subscribe, and keep your cameras on. Next time, we're tackling rogue sprinklers, a nosy neighbor, and a feud over unapproved roses.